Shalom. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Zion. Hallelujah. We give Yah praise. We give Yah honor and glory. He alone is worthy. morehyosh Yahoo of the ARK. Uh, just happy to be once again in the room with you all. Today I'm going to be broadcasting from the ARK trailer, and me and the kids are on our way to do something outside the house. We've been trying to like ride our bikes and stuff like that. Just we're not gonna let this coronavirus and this quarantine shut us down like in prison. No, they still allow you to go outside, get some exercise. Hallelujah. So we decided to take the trailer, and it got really windy outside because I was gonna do the video like I normally do from outside, but the wind noise would have just been horrendous where we are. So decided to come inside and video. So if you all can see and you can hear the audio, and everything is fine, would you post a 7 in the room? Post a 7 in the room. Let me know. So yes, the video is clear enough, and the audio is clear enough. We're gonna proceed. Woo, 7. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. And what a time. What a time. What a time we've had this week. Almighty Yah Abba Yah has chosen in his infinite wisdom to allow the Wuhan virus to be unleashed upon this world, giving us a preview of the blowing of the trumpets, the pouring of the bowls, and the releasing of the vials. Whoo, Zion. This is just the beginning, according to the text. And Yah has given us an opportunity to be still long enough to read his Bible, to be still long enough to dig into the true meaning of the death, burial, and resurrection of our Hamashiach, Yahoshua Hamashiach, of that 4th tribe, Yehuda, from the 12 tribes of Israel. We give him all praise. We give him all honor, and we give him all the glory. Once again, to the 12 tribes worldwide, Shalom. Look at this Exodus. Let's go back and get back in this Exodus. If you all want to study for just a few moments with the Moray, once again, put a 7 in the room and let me know that you all are ready. We're going to be back in Exodus. I mentioned last night. I'm actually going to kind of finish up where I started last night because, time got away. But we covered some some interesting topics, and we had some deep discussions last night. And I pray those of you who have been following that you will continue to go over these videos, because believe it or not, you're not going to pick up everything in one video. So you might just looking at it one time, you may need to go back through it, take notes, because this is how we study together. And I believe this is Yah who allowed us this opportunity to do this. So now I want to get into this study dealing with Moses. Hold on now. Exodus chapter 2, verse 15. Now when Pharaoh heard this thing, what thing? That Moshe had slayed an Egyptian. I'm talking about laid him out. cold, then buried him in the sand. He sought to slay Moses, but Moses fled from the face of Pharaoh. And I mentioned before, and I gave, I think, good information and background on how he was most likely face to face when he took off running out of there. With unbelievable 9.599 speed, sand kicking up, and he runs and races across the desert in record time. He runs across the desert. He flees from the face of Pharaoh, who no doubt helped raise Moses. Remember, his mama is Pharaoh's daughter. Pharaoh is Moses' mama's daddy. And he's raised as an Egyptian, but he's not an Egyptian. He's raised in Pharaoh's house, but he's not an Egyptian. He knows all the wisdom, knowledge of the Egyptians, trained in all their arts and their works, but he is a Hebrew. All right. Now, I think I told you, and if I haven't, let me give you a definition for the word Egyptian. If you look in your Bible, and as I mentioned earlier, this book is in English, but our original text is in Hebrew. So we really, to get true definitions of words, we got to go to the original. So the original word for Egypt or Egyptian is Mitzrayim. Mitzrayim. All right. And Mitzrayim, and you can go and do deeper research on this, but as you study Mitzrayim, you will find out that it literally means a cauldron or a melting pot, a smoldering pot. It's a pot that was used to heat up, to pour the, when you went and got ore from your natural resources, the ground, you use that place, and it's very, very hot, and it burns off the dross, obviously, and then you keep the metal. And so it became what's called a melting pot. It was known as that because, one, that pot was black, and it still is black to this day. And number two, the place is very hot, and it still is hot to this day. And number three, there is a lot of different things in that place, a lot of different people, a lot of different gods, it's a melting pot. And that was called Mitzrayim. Mitzrayim is actually the name of one of Ham's sons. So remember, now those of you, this may be review, but for some of you who are new to serious Bible study, you have to go back to Noah. Okay? Noah has 3 sons: Shem, Ham, and Japheth. When we study our scriptures, until we get to Daniel, matter of fact, almost all the way to Daniel, we really don't see a lot of Japheth. Japheth, after the flood, he moved after the flood and after Babylon, Japheth moves north, and he begins to occupy the isles of the Gentiles, which is Europe. All right, so Japheth's people moved to Europe. So the Europeans primarily trace their lineage back to Japheth or Japheth. All right, I want you to understand that there was really hardly any relation with any of the biblical people with Japheth until we see the invasion of really Alexander the Great. Once Alexander the Great is mentioned as the Greeks that's going to come down and dethrone King Cyrus, of course, from that point forward, we see our people dealing with the Greek people, and then, of course, Greece is then conquered by Rome, and then we are dealing with the Roman people. But prior to that, we are only dealing with Ham and Shem. Shem and Ham are both black African people. All right, I'm using the term black because y'all understand that term, but they are brown. And they're all brown. Whether light brown or dark brown, they're brown people. You would have not looked at any of the descendants of Ham or Shem, and in today's language, you would have never looked at any of them and called them a white boy, or a white man, or a white woman, or a white child. They would, in today's day, any of these people, you would have said, these are all black people. If you just gave a blanket statement. Now, I know that they're brown. I'm just saying what the world would say. They would say, those are all black people. If y'all understand what the Moreh is trying to say, as I'm trying to do the best I can to show y'all, Shem and Ham are both what y'all consider to be black folk. I need you to have that understanding. Put another 7 in this chat. Let us put a 7 in the chat so that we can understand we're not reading a European book. This book didn't come from Europe. This book is not about white people. I hate to say it like that. And I know I'm hurting little Jimmy's feelings right now. Little Jimmy and little Susie. Please hear the Moreh. I'm not the one that lied to you. Little Jimmy, I didn't paint that picture of Caesar Borgia and hang it up in your house. Little Susie, I did not paint that picture of Adam being white coming out of black soil that had you thinking your whole life that the white race was more superior than the black race. That was not the Moreh who did that. Go ask your mammy. Go ask your daddy. And do it with respect. Don't disrespect them. Go to them and say, Mother, Father, is it true what the Moreh says? That the people of the Bible are actually of the Negro persuasion. And please, Mother, please, Father, be honest with me. I can handle it. And then you're going to hear old Pappy say, well, son, the actual truth is, and then he's going to go back and pull up the books. He's going to say, we've been knowing there were Negroes the whole time. As a matter of fact, the very Pope bows down to a Negro woman and child every morning, etc., etc., etc. Yes, we've been knowing that, son. We've always known that Adam was black. How is it possible, son, for us to get black people if the first person wasn't black? And I can hear little Jimmy, but Father, say it isn't so, Father. Say it isn't so. We told all manner of Negro jokes since we've been a child, Father. They know. That's all I'm saying, Zion. Yes, Zion. Jimmy, Susie, Marge, Blanche, y'all go talk this thing over and don't get mad at me. I didn't paint these people white. Then y'all grew up believing that they all white. No, I didn't do that. I'm just showing you the truth. All these people black. And you know it. They're what you all would call black people. They're not Europeans. These are Africans. This was an African book. And these are African people. They lived on the continent of Africa. Two different, of course, Shem and Ham, the Hamitic people and the Shemitic people both lived in Africa. Some in West Africa, North Africa, Central Africa, East Africa. And it wasn't until the Europeans began to conquer the world that they divided up this landmass and called our homeland Middle East, and had nerve enough to say that Egypt is Caucasian. If y'all got a census come to your house and say, if you from Egypt, mark the box Caucasian. Right then and there, you should have known, man. It's something smelly on the line. It's a dead fish on this line. Somewhere, something stinks. Why? Because the youngest of our children should know that Egypt is in Africa. Before I did this video, I asked Jade and Ari, I said, who was Moses? They said, the one that y'all used to deliver us from slavery. I said, what slavery? Egyptian slavery. I said, where's Egypt? In Africa. Age 8 and 6. So Zion, Mitzrayim is in Africa. And so at that time was what we consider the Fertile Crescent, or Saudi Arabia was part of Africa. Now, why am I saying that? Because Moses was born there. That's why I'm saying that. He's born in Africa. And his father, and his father, and his father, and his father, all the way back to Isaac, who was born in Canaan, which is another African country. Canaan and Mitzrayim are brothers. Ham divided the land among his children. So Mitzrayim got a piece, and right next door to Mitzrayim, his brother Canaan got next door. And Canaan is where we were raised. We came out of Ur, the Chaldees, into Canaan. From Canaan into Egypt. Moses was born in Egypt. Why you say that? More, you putting a lot of emphasis on that. Because I'm trying to help little Jimmy and Susie, who's having a problem with this. Because every time they went to church, man, they saw Cesare Borgia. And as a matter of fact, down here in the South, I'm talking about in America, it wasn't too long ago that some of the Klan was holding their rallies in the church with a picture of white Jesus, white Caesar Borgia, right above their heads. And then there was, I'm just making a point. And go all over Europe, they done painted all of our people white, including the person I'm finna talk about tonight. And I'm really, to be honest, I'm finna show y'all something, including the person we talking about tonight, Moses. When Cecil B. DeMille decided he was going to make a movie called The Ten Commandments, this heathen knew, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that the Hebrew people and the Egyptian people are both African people. He knew that. So what does he do when it comes to casting Moses? I can tell you. He chose a man that you can't, number one, you can't get no uglier than that. I've already told y'all that. Whoo, man, that sharp nose, man, that weird looking grill, that narrow face, and them big old ears. And that's your Moses. Man, and that white skin. Let me tell you something. According to this text, Moses fled from the face of Pharaoh. Did y'all see that? And ran from Egypt to Saudi Arabia with not nary a drop. I said, not nary a drop of sunblock. He didn't have no sunblock. If that would have been Charleston Heston trying to run from Egypt to Saudi Arabia, do you know that sun would have slew him in the first day? I'm talking about the first day. boy, his skin would have been bubbling and all that. Because you know what? This is what they don't tell you. I've been there. And I've watched all the Europeans that now occupy that land and live there. I watched the Europeans. Man, let me tell you something. I should have bought some stock in sunblock. Because they don't do nothing without sunblock. Do y'all hear me? I said nothing. They wake up in the morning, get ready to go to get the paper. They go to the store, they get something, and then as soon as they buy, they get that sunblock. They get out the car, they put on themselves, put on their kid, wipe their kid down all day long. And those of you in the Holy Land, you should go on and confess it because you live there. And you know that the Europeans that live down in that area with that sun beaming down like that, so close down by the equator, whether you know, I'm not dealing with the shape of the earth right now. I'm just saying when that sun is so hot. If you know for a fact that the European can't make it down there without sunblock, you need to put we're going to be nice. Just put another 9 in the room, please. Put a 9 in the room. Say, oh man, I never thought about that. You should have thought about it. Cecil B. DeMille, you should have thought about that before you cast the whitest man you could find to play Moses. This man is part Scottish and part English. He's English Scot mix. You can't get no more pasty white than English Scottish mix. Raised in the woods. Y'all to read his story. Raised in the woods, said of his own confession. I was a homely, scrawny child. Tall and skinny. That's what he said about himself. And we read that Moses ran across the desert. Woo! This is why I'm just trying to show you something. If y'all don't, you have to get the image out. You have to get the image out. And this is rough on those of you who have to go to your parents and ask the truth, or you got to go to your pastor. You have to ask the truth. And listen, you can take the message that I'm giving you right now to them, because eventually they're going to have to all confess it. He ran. And how far did he run? 200 miles. Where did he end up? In the land of Midian. Who's the Midianites? Some old black folk. That's what y'all will call them if you saw them today. You would say, oh, he ran to a tribe of black people. Now, we know better because we from that land. We know they're not black. We know they're brown. See, English, they use the word black for brown. And just like in the Bible, they use the word red for brown. See how they do us? How come they just couldn't call us what the Bible calls us? Brass. Copper. Ruddy. That's how the scriptures describe who we are. Like wine. Ooh. Y'all need to pour a glass of wine. You say, I know, brother, with that skin tone right there. Being honest with you. If y'all understand the more we're trying to make this as plain as possible because the time is winding up and we don't have long here, Zion, to be playing these games. There's no Europeans in your Bible until after Daniel and then the intertestamental period, and then eventually you're going to see the Roman Empire has went on a move to conquer. That's way down the line. I need you to put a 21 in this chat. We need to see 21s. And that way you will remove all those European images. There are no Europeans in the Bible. There's only Shem and Ham until we get to what y'all call the New Testament, and we are, well, really at the end of the Old Testament, and we are under Roman rule. As a matter of fact, at that time, the whole world falls under Roman rule. That's when the Romans came into our land and began to wreak havoc among our people. and them 21s is rolling. Yes, the Romans were some cold-blooded, dirty, dastardly dogs. Ain't no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Some of the most evil men and some of the most evil systems that this world has ever seen has come from the heart and mind of them Romans. When it came to the crucifixion of our Hamashiach, we discovered that the Romans had a hand in it from a long time ago. Whew. But anyway, let's get back to the text. So he runs from black African Egypt all the way down to black African Midian. Still in Africa. I don't care what they call the Middle East. You could call it Asia today if you would like. That make even more sense. I could say that's Asia if you want to, but I can't say Middle East. Middle East of what? It's got to be a continent. And we're starting to discover that the word Asian just means East. That's why I can deal with that. That's East Africa. So when you say Asian, I'm going to agree with you. Yes, we are Asian. We are from the east of Africa. And he sat down by a well. The name of this message is From the River to the Well. If you all understood that the name of this lesson is From the River to the Well, and when I said it, it automatically made sense to you, put a 29 in this chat. If just saying that made sense to you, put a 29. Said, you know what? That's the story of his life to this point. The story of his life from this point is from the river to the well. And oh, what has transpired? What has changed? What has been wrought? What things have gone on? 40 years it has been from the river to the well. He has had his what? Ups, his downs. He's had his misunderstandings from the river to the well. And let me share something with you all, Zion. If we only take pieces of our life and not see our life as a whole, you can get depressed. You can get down in the dumps. You can start feeling bad. If his life is over, exhausted at a well, and if his life goes from a river to a well, then you can say, man, what a story. And it's almost like, what's the point? What's the use? Because he started off at the most powerful and beautiful, really, to be honest, at that time, that river was a fantastic river. The Nile River. And yes, I have been to the Nile River. I'm talking about me, morehyosh Yahu Dawid. I've been to the Nile River. I've seen it. Mm-hmm. And yes, would you move? Jay done came in. So I've seen the Nile River. And I'm telling you, even now, in its lowest state, in its lowest condition, it's still a beautiful river. And he was born and then placed in an ark by that river, and we read his glorious story. And then now he has to flee. He has to leave Egypt. He has to leave the riches of Egypt. He leaves the status, the power, the influence that he had. He was snitched out on one hand, stepping fetched on the other hand, talked about behind his back, people mad and jealous, and his own step-grandfather or adopted grandfather, who was actually an Egyptian, pronounced the death penalty on him. And now what is he doing? He has run, his breath is gone, he's exhausted, and he's sitting by a well. He's at a point in life where he's most likely saying, what is this thing really all about? Zion, anybody listening to me ever got to a point in your life to where you actually had to sit down and contemplate, what is this world and this life really all about? Because you started off one way and you've had all these ups and downs and turns and twists, and now you find yourself at the proverbial well of life at this point where you're now almost to exhaustion. It's not over, but you're just asking that question like, what is this really? If you've ever been there, put a 47 in this room. Say, you know what, Moray, you saying something, man. I've been right there. I'm looking back over my life right now. And I'm not saying everything had to be bad. I'm saying, have you been to that point where you had to stop for a moment? You had to ask the question. Follow what I'm saying. You out of breath. You tired. You got to sit down. And you find a well. Find a place where there's some water. And at that point, you don't really, at that point, you don't really want to do anything else except sit by that well, get you some water, and chill. And look at them 47s. You know what? Everybody is saying that. Which means you're understanding what the text is saying now. You're starting to see it. That he ends up at a well. And the text said literally he sat down. When we compare this to our Hamashiach and see how Yeshua was traveling and why he ended up sitting at a well, it was also at a point when he was rejected. By who? By his own. And I wouldn't be honest. I wouldn't be an honest Moray. Shh. I would not be an honest Moray if I wouldn't confess to y'all that there have been times where I wanted to just sit down by the well. Now, you're trying to do good, you know. And here come people talking about you. Folk you don't even know. They just don't like you. And you studying the text and you're trying to help people. You're trying to deliver people. You're trying to open eyes. You're trying to get people to read the Bible for themselves. You're trying to get people to develop a deeper walk with Hamashiach and to have more honor, glory, and praise to Abba Yah. You spend your life trying to unravel the quote-unquote mysteries of the word. Make it so plain that a little child could hear you and understand what you're saying, and yet people still talk about you. Still be like who he think he is. And I don't know why y'all listen to him and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, wow. You know, you do know I could just sit at the well, right? I've actually said that a couple times. You know what? I'm done. I'm doing this work. I'm studying. I'm praying. I'm putting my life on the line. And before the quarantine, traveling all over from place to place, state to state, town to town, crowd to crowd. And then people, man, they just make you want to go run away and sit by a well. And you're trying to figure out, what is this all about? Because you just don't, at that point, it's just unbalanced. And then, of course, here come the videos. Because there's always Satan. So there's going to be the devil. And I watched the devil. The devil can put a video together. And I saw that. I'm like, it's comical to me, but it's still the devil. The devil will write letters. The devil will put out stuff. The devil will start attacking. See, that's Satan. He's always going to be around. Now remember, when Moshe stands before Pharaoh, he's not getting a fair shake. You can forget it. Even if if he'd had a good lawyer, he might have been able to plead his case. But he figured it out. He was like, it's not going to work. So he ends up running. And his running leads him where? To Midian. Say, Maury, why you keep bringing that up? Because I want you to see something. Moses, the greatest man that you've ever known until Hamashiach. Up to this point, we know no man greater than him. And what the Bible is trying to show you in this passage is that Moshe was exhausted. He was tired. He was wore out. He was thirsty. And he stopped. And it helps us understand that in life, sometimes we have to experience that. If Moshe went through that, he experienced it, and we got so many other of our patriarchs who have gone through the same thing, and then we watch our own Hamashiach go through the same thing, then what makes us think that we're going to make it through this life from the river to the well without exhaustion, without being tired, without being wore out, wanting to just go kick it, wanting to just go throw in the towel somewhere, wanting to just go sit by the well and drink some fresh, clean water? I'm going to say this and I'm going to move on because I want you to catch this, Zion. There's a couple things I want you to catch. Sitting by the sitting by the well is not a sin. There was no sin in that. Because he probably was just going to refresh him, stay there long enough to be refreshed. But at this point, he personally needed refreshment. He personally needed rest. If you guys can understand that, put a 50 in this room. If you can really get the fact that he's had his life from 0 to 40 has been tough, and now he had to run. He just needs some time. That's all. See the 50s? There's no sin in being tired. Some people think because you get tired, you must do some sin. No, he's tired because he's tired. And he's sitting by a well. And that well is going to become symbolic. It already is symbolic. But the well will be symbolic for the word. So when you have a well of water, it means you have plenty of the word of Yah, which then does what? Refreshes you. Okay? So you're going to see that. And so I'm going to give you some advice. When you find yourself at the well of life, drink the water. When you find yourself at sitting down on the well, that's the time to refresh yourself with the word of Yah. Not with gossip, not with television, not with radio, not with Facebook, not with Snapchat, not with none of that stuff. Instagram. No, that's the time that you just need to be with this. You need to allow the word of Yah to be the water you need to do what? I'm about to shout, and I told y'all, it ain't far for me to shout. This helps you to restore your soul. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. That's what I need. I need the water from the well. Yes, I need to read. I need to understand. I gotta go back and rehearse the goodness and the power and the provisions and the protections of our Almighty Yah. I need to go back and refresh myself on his faithfulness. I need to go back and remind myself that he's Yah and Yah all by himself. I need to sit by the well. I need to relax. For a moment, I need to be refreshed. I need to go read. I need to find out. You're not the only one, man. Had to endure the heat of a blazing sun, the burn of hot sand, the exhaustion of 4 days, 5 days running. You're not the only one. Sit down, son, and read the book again. And you're going to discover some stuff sitting by that well, y'all. So what's that? You're going to discover that he's an on time, yeah. You're going to discover he may not come when you want him, but he's always right on time. You're going to discover by the well that Yah can do anything but fail. You're going to discover by the well that you're never alone. No, never. For Yah walks with me and talks with me and tells me that I'm his own. That's when I sit by the well. When I sit by the well, I'm reminded that man look at the outside, but Yah is looking at my heart. That's when I'm by my well. You understand what I'm saying? When I'm by the well, I realize that I should make a joyful noise unto him, because it's he that has made us and not we ourselves. We are his people. When do I realize? When I can be still long enough to sit by the well. When I sit by the well, I'm reminded that there's nothing too hard for Yah when I'm sitting by the well. If I just sit by the well, I know that he sits high and looks low. If I be still long enough to just sit by the well, that's by the word. That's by the word. If I sit by the well long enough, I find out that he's a battle axe in the time of war. When I sit by the well, I find out that he's a shepherd that never takes his eyes off his sheep. When I sit long enough by the well, I realize his direction when I'm lost. I sit by the well long enough, I get refreshed. When I'm by the well, that's all I'm saying. Nothing wrong with being tired and sitting down by the well. Nothing wrong with it, Zion. You need the word. It's gonna have you keep going. You need the word. It's gonna help you stay faithful. Somebody said if you was on a deserted island, what be the one thing you would want to be with you? Man, that's such a no-brainer for me. All I need is the word. Say, man, you could have said a boat, you could have said listen, let me tell you something. What is the use, Zion, of having anything if you don't have the word? So, nothing wrong with Moses being tired. Nothing wrong with Moses sitting down by the well. Because he's being refreshed. He's being rejuvenated by the well. His mind is clearing up by that well. We're going to see it. Not my words. Prove it to you. Let's prove these things, Zion. Now, verse 16. The priest of Midian. Uh-oh. Here come a preacher. Here come a pastor. He's the pastor of Midian. He's over the whole clan of the Midianites. He's the priest. He's the preacher. He's the pastor. Now, the pastor of the Midianites had 7 daughters. Y'all see that in the Bible? He had 7 daughters. And they came to and drew water. Here it is. And filled the troughs to water their father's flock. Do y'all see that? In Exodus chapter 2, verse 16, if you can clearly see that the priest of Midian had 7 daughters. 7 daughters. He had 7 daughters and no sons. I think y'all starting to understand now why these 7 daughters are at the well. Because normally you would have your sons out there accompanying your daughters if they were going. But because you're always going to have some of them rabble rousers, crazy talkers, and people out there. It's a dangerous place for the women to go out there to draw water for the flocks alone. Now the priest of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came and drew water and filled the troughs to water their father's flock. Wait. And the shepherds came and drove them away. You got to be joking. Please tell me this ain't in the Bible. Wait a minute, you're trying to tell me that these 7 sisters go down to the well. They done brought up enough water. Remember, they done did a whole lot of work. They putting the buckets down, drawing the buckets up. And look, I live in the country. And sometimes we get water problems out in the country where we have to carry buckets. And that's the truth. I'm not making up nothing. I know this is 2020, but we got our own well out here. And sometimes we have well issues. So we have to actually get buckets of water. And I'm going to tell y'all something. Them 5-gallon buckets of water, they're not no lightweight water buckets. You try to carry. If you don't believe me, just go fill up a couple of them and walk around your house since you're in quarantine. Let alone walk 2 or 3 miles. So they done walked all the way over to the well, and they have pulled up enough water out of that well to feed or to water all of the flock of their father. And right when they done filled up all the troughs for their father, watch this, here come some shepherds who are also coming to what? Water their flocks. But these old sorry shepherds, these old, almost said something. These old, no good, evil, black-hearted, desert rats. Wait till the women done all the work pulling up the water and putting it in the trough for the flock. Here they come. And do what? They run the women off so that they can give their flocks water while the women had done all the work. And these men were supposed to be shepherds. If you can, Zion, if the Moreh has helped you, clearly understand what has just happened. This ain't in my Bible. This is not just in my Bible. It should be in your Bible. Please be so kind. Put a 100 and we're going to continue. Put a 100. We can continue. Because it says, and filled the trough to water their father's flock. And the shepherds came and drove who? Them away. Drove the daughters away from the troughs that they had just filled up so that they could fill their cattle with their hard labor. So this is what normally would happen. These desert, these sand demons would sit out there and know good and well that Jethro only got 7 daughters and no sons. They're not trying to help Jethro. They're waiting for the women to pull up all the water and put it in the trough. Then here they come and run the women away from the trough, feed water their animals. Watch this. And once their animals have drank all the water, they then leave. And now the women have to do it all over again. That's going on in Midian. And unfortunately, that goes on in our communities today. Where unfortunately, we always got them community rats who are less than a man, who wait for the woman to do all the hard labor. And then here he comes. Move her away, take all her resources, all the hard labor she has done. Then they take advantage of that, use it all up, and then she got to go back and try to refill the pots and refill the troughs all over again. Damn shame. That should not be noted among our people. But I told you these are our cousins. Didn't I tell you? The Midianites and the people who live down in the desert. We got to watch them attitudes to where, brethren, you going to just sit back and let the woman do all the work, and then here you come taking up all the resources. And then she got to do double work now because you done drink up all the kids' juice. If anybody know of a brother that will sit around and drink up all the juice, little kids be like, Mama, what a juice? That, you know what, then took the baby juice. And he be like, why you let him stay here? Well, if I don't, then, if he ain't here, then. Because I don't know, this thing probably been going on for a long time with these daughters, because it's pretty obvious somebody must have said, listen, you better let us get this, or it's going to be a lot worse on y'all. So they were like, okay, look, when we come out here, we just got to do double duty, I guess, because we're going to have to, some kind of way we got to feed our flock. I don't know if I can make it any plainer than this, Zion, but if you understand what Moray just said, and can now see the picture that these women had did great labor in pulling up this heavy water to feed all them animals, and then they ran away so that these desert rats could come in and take it all. I need you to put a 1,000 in this room, because I really think understanding is being had. And them 1,000s. And listen, some of you brothers, you can put 1,000 in here too. I ain't against you. Y'all done woke up. The brethren, you woke now. Now you walking in Torah. See, now you're working. Now you have a job. Now you taking care of your family. Now nobody can call you a desert rat. You're not a desert rat. You helping now. But I'm saying there is still people with that mindset and don't understand that that's not some new thing. That's an old mindset. This is what folk in the cousin was doing. But hallelujah, we've been changed. All right. Ooh, them thousands still going. Now I see some brothers in there. They thought I was talking about all brothers. Nah, brothers, keep putting them 1,000s up in here. Whew. Watch this. And the shepherds came and drove them away, verse 17. But in the Bible, Moses stood up and helped them. Wait a minute. Moses was resting. Moses was tired. He had been running. But obviously he had some of that water from that well. And when all that noise was going on, some kind of way Moshe got shook up like, what's going on out here? I didn't come out here for no smoke. I just left smoke. I didn't come out here to do no fighting. I just left fighting. I didn't come out here to get no trouble. I'm just here to rest and relax. But it seems like no matter where I go, it seems like I always find myself in a position, what do I do? And Moshe, I understand. I don't understand completely, but I get it. Because I too have wanted to just sit by the well and just read my Bible and get happy every day. Just me and this Bible, just enjoy life. And something seems to always want to drag you back into battle some kind of way. And here it is, he chilling, and these women are, and he look up and he's like, you gotta be joking. Now watch again, because see, I'm going to keep bringing this out. Watch the righteous indignation. One thing you're going to see about Moshe is that he can't stand to see someone taking advantage of someone else. That just bothers him. And that is his character. And it's a great character for a shepherd. So remember, when we saw his first act, it was a what? It was an Egyptian who was wrong, taking advantage of a Hebrew. He acted. Secondly, he saw a Hebrew who was wrong, taking advantage of another Hebrew. He acted. Third, now, what do we see? We see some shepherds taking advantage of these women at the well, and he acts again. He's like, I have to do something. Why? It's just in his nature. It's in his power. And you know what he did? And Moshe is so modest here. The way Moses said it, he's so modest. He said, and Moses stood up and helped them. Y'all read that? If y'all read that, put another 1,000 in here. Then Moses stood up. That's all it really took. But Moses stood up. It was like, woo! Who is that? I told you all. I told you. One man against all them shepherds. Moses was sitting down. Remember, he's sitting down. Y'all need to be having them thousands flowing. Moses was sitting down like this, chilling by the well. And when all that stuff happened, man, Moses got up. When Moses stood up, and them shepherds was like, dang. Moses stood up, man. Them muscles ripping on that cat, man. And boy, he in perfect shape. He done drank from the water. He done got his wind. Oh, yeah, he done washed his hair, man. His locks is straight now. His beard is straight. Everything's straight. Now watch this. And they all mess with these women. They know they wrong. All of a sudden, here we go again. Moses stand up and do this, boy. Come on. And it was on. Boom, 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 boom. And them cats, shoo! They ran away from that well like scalded dog. Boy, kicking up more sand than Moses was. They was running for their lives. Why? They want to live. They wanted to live. If y'all could see that these guys who so bad when it came to them women, pushing them around, talking bad, making them move out the way after they done pull up the wall, so they acting like they big men. Yeah, nigga. Listen here, B. Listen here. Move out the way. We finna feed out. You ain't finna do nothing. Oh, you bad when it comes to a woman. But when a real man stand up, one man, Moses, when Moses said, when I just stood up, because you know he's telling his own story now. If y'all can clearly see that Moses is now telling his own story. Moses said when he stood up. How tall was Moses? How strong was Moses? What did he look like when he stood up? What kind of fear ran through all? How come all these shepherds, how come it don't say, And these shepherds beat Moses to a pulp because it was 10 of them and only one of him. No, I ain't what it said. He said, man, he got up. When he stood up, man, they ran. I keep telling y'all, ain't nobody running from Charleston Heston, I guarantee you. They gonna whoop. Matter of fact, they gonna be like, look, they gonna start laughing. If Charleston Heston would have stood up, all sunburned, lips would have been all cracked and busted, and hair all, man, and all, oh, that narrow face and them big old ears, they'd have been like, boy, you really get a whoop. Go sit down somewhere. If you could clearly see that this is no English, Scottish person sitting by this well, but that this is an African Hebrew from the tribe of Yehuda, from the tribe of Levi, who is the baddest dude breathing oxygen on the planet. If y'all can now see it clearly, I really need y'all to put a 10,000 in this room, because once you see that this dude, man, is intimidating, just his physique, just his disposition, just his demeanor, and he can fight. I told you that he killed one man, buried him in the sand, killed a man, buried him in the sand in the same day, and the next day was right back outside like nothing happened. You understand who you're dealing with now. His very presence should put fear in people when he stood up. Now listen to this. Your Hamashiach, your Hoshua Hamashiach, your king, your Hoshua in the New Testament, right? He battered in Moses. He'd have whooped Moses. Mano on mano. And Moses wasn't no joke. I done read already some of the things. But Moses would have been no match for Hamashiach. Hamashiach Yahushua, are you kidding me? Man, Hamashiach Yahushua, man, went to the temple in front of everybody. And walked in and walked out. Made a whip about this long. Went back in there, man, and got to swinging. And all of a sudden, Hebrews from all over, man, got them happy dancing feet. You know how when you're about to get a whooping, you be like, oh, and for some reason your feet be doing like this? Because you know that whoop is coming. Man, not one of them said, man, get him. No, they ain't getting him. You crazy. Never. Not one time, man. One time they said, we was going to get him. But they did. Never. And y'all need to go watch that. You need to go read your Bible again about your king, because you got it completely twisted. When they came to get him in the garden, they brought a whole freaking army. Some people say it was up to 600 men to get one. I said 600 men to get one. And what did they come with? Not my words, Bible. Torches, lantern, staff, and sword. They came in like an army, like a mob to get one man. Like I'm telling y'all, they have painted your Messiah in your eyes to be a European softy. Blonde hair and blue eyes, and I never talks bad, and just love each other, and I don't know why this is happening to me. Y'all gotta stop that. Oh my goodness. If y'all don't get that out your mind, woo! No Hebrew was better than Hamashiach. And now, let's go back to Moses. I want to show you something. About Moses. Moses stood up, man, and defended these women against all them men. And he is a picture of the king to come. He's not even the king. That's why I keep trying. I don't know if y'all really catching what Moreh's trying. If you can see a little bit better that Moshe is the baddest dude on the planet. I mean, nobody can get Moshe doing nothing. There's nothing that a person on this planet up until this point can beat him doing. Nothing. then you need to put 100,000. I need 100,000 now. 100,000 needs to go in this room, because we have the scriptures that will prove that even when Moshe was about to die, he was a man that was in full strength. At 120, the record is he was still strong. 100,000 is rolling. And again, my emphasis is always to the king. So, listen, the king is better than everybody. Remember, he's the lion of the tribe of Judah, so can't nobody get our king. So let's listen to this. Have y'all ever read the story of David's mighty men of valor? If you haven't, you can Google it, because if you just type that in, if you don't have a concordance, just type in David's mighty men of valor and read how bad those men were and what they accomplished on the battlefield and how strong they were. You read that. And when you finish reading his mighty men of valor, you got to understand one thing that is not mentioned in the text, but is absolutely true, is that all David's mighty men of valor, not one of them could take David. When you read about all the exploits of the mighty men of valor that surrounded David, these are David's boys. These are some of the baddest, because they're not all Hebrew Israelites. Some of them are from other nations. And they're surrounding David, King Dawid, right? These are his boys. And they've made the rank of mighty men of valor. But the truth be told is what I'm trying to get you to see. As great as they were, not one of them could take David, though. Now watch this. David couldn't take Joshua. There was no way that David would take Joshua in a fight. It just couldn't happen. Joshua is the lion. He is the strongest. He is what y'all call the best of everything. Nobody can touch Hamashiach. Y'all, when you go back and read it now with new eyes, you're going to be like, no wonder he just walked through and passed by and nobody laid a hand on him. They wanted to, but they were scared to death of him. They downplayed your king, y'all, just like they downplayed Moses with this Scottish Englishman. Cheerio. Born in America, and now that's your Moses. No. It's a black man. Black man from Levi. Lawi is his tribe. He said he just stood up. Not my words. I'm going to let y'all go. I've been on this thing too long. Not my words. He says, but Moshe stood up. And the word there is help them. If you click on your interlinear, you're going to find out that word means salvation. And it literally means he delivered them from trouble, or he delivered them from danger. And it also means he delivered them by defeating the enemy. So he didn't just find a way to get them to run away. Run away, you guys, run away. No. Moses whooped them desert rats. He whooped them sand nickels. That's what he did. And gave one of them looks like, from now on, if I even hear anything from y'all, they took off running so fast. He said, I ain't playing. Moses was nobody's joke. That 10 Commandments, that movie tried to turn him into a joke, but when you read it for yourself, he's not a joke. It said Moses stood up and helped them. And then what did Moses do? And watered their flocks. So you mean He's a warrior. He can wreak havoc, fear into the hearts of his adversary, but yet he's so wonderfully kind and gentle and understanding that after whooping the shepherd, the enemy, he then has time and energy to water the women's flock. He had time. He said, now look, y'all go sit down. I got it. They was like, you just finished whooping. I could do this 7 times a day. Y'all have no clue. I just ran 200 miles. This was so lightweight work. It's in the text. Moses watered their flock. Again, it's a picture of who? Hamashiach, who's going to do what? Protect us. By doing what? Driving our enemies away. Then what's he going to do with us? Take us into the place of the holy city where there's a river that runs, and that's a whole nother. Y'all know where I'm going with that already. But anyway, he's going to sit us down by water once again. And we will what? Never thirst. It's just the Bible is a complete, perfect book. So people who tell me I'm none of this, you don't understand nothing. I don't talk to you. Start from Genesis, read Revelation, then we can talk again. But anybody who don't understand how this thing is working, you cannot say I believe Moshe and don't believe Hamashiach, because Moshe is a picture of Hamashiach. I can just go on with that, but I want you to understand something. Our king is going to fulfill all of these types for us. All right, now watch this. Verse 18. And when they came to Ruel, their father, don't let that throw you. Ruel has 2 names. He's Ruel, and his name is also Jethro. And that's not a big, we'll talk about that later on, but one is his spiritual name and another one is his normal name. And we all got 2 names, so that shouldn't trip nobody out. People never even knew my father's real name. All his life they called him Jab because he could hit so hard. So they just called him Jab. That was his identity. In fact, all of his people, all of his cousins, uncles, friends, family, whenever you go around, his name was Jab, but his name was never Jab. His name was actually Morris. Ain't even close to Jab. My father's name was his first name was Morris, but nobody ever called him Morris unless it was somebody downtown. Everybody called him Jab. So for our culture, having 2 names is what we do. Everybody got 2 names. Okay, somebody don't believe me online. Everybody even watching me that's got 2 names, would you put a 10,000 in this room? You don't have to put your name, but if you've been called more than one name, I'm not about to actually go by that name. Put a 10,000 in the room. Because I know I got 2 names. Yoshiyahu is our second name. Look it. There's a 10,000. There's a 10,000. There's a 10,000, a 10,000, a 10. Wait a minute, all y'all got more than one name? 10,000 and 10,000 and 10,000. It's a Hebrew thing. The enemies of our book try to make this. Well, right there, didn't it said Ruel in one and say Jethro in another. What's that all about? What's that all about? Man, first of all, Pookie, your real name ain't Pookie. Pookie, you got 2 names. Your name is Bartholomew. You just want people to call you Pookie. Man, go on with that, man. You play too much. That's what they're going to tell you. You play too much. Stop. You play too much. No, just reading the Bible. Don't let little stuff trip you over. It's just not worth it. All right? Okay. I'm out of here with this one. Whew. People still putting them numbers up. You know why I have y'all doing that? Go in the truck. Go in the truck. The reason why I have you putting those numbers in is because I want the rest of the world to know that what I'm saying and what I'm teaching Zion to help you understand Scripture is not just me. That's why I asked you to testify online. That's why I want you, are you with me? It's like, are we in this thing together? Are we reading it together and getting insight, what? Together. Somebody said, they call me the twin. Won't we do it? I don't even got a name. I know one boy's name is Boy. Really, honestly, that's not even his name. But everybody been calling him Boy his whole life. Nobody even knows his real name. Somebody start calling him, hey boy, boy. Next thing you know, man, everybody start calling him Boy. Literally, B-O-Y. And that's what everybody calls him all my life. They called him Boy. Okay, so we really understand that Ruel and Jethro, the same man having two names, is not hard for us to see because our culture, we do it all the time. And when he came to Ruel, their father, he said, how is it that you are come so soon today? In other words, normally when y'all go out there, I already know what happened. Them shepherds come, they hassle y'all, they harass y'all, they make you water their flocks first, and then you got to redo it and write it. But today, man, y'all quick to get back. Verse 19, and I'm going to stop here, and we'll catch it later. We'll finish it later. And, see, I'm going to show it. Little Jimmy and little Susie, Blanche, all of y'all, I need y'all to see the Bible for yourself now. I need y'all to see the Bible for yourself now, because Mama, and Daddy, and Grandpa and Grandma, first grade, second grade, third grade teacher, and even these biblical writers and scholars, painting these pictures of all these white people in your Bible and making these cartoons. And when you go online and you search, they give you, and you type image, you're going to see all these Europeans, all European. And listen, I know this must, listen, this must be shaking you to the core, because you thought white people were supreme. You thought they were, Yah's chosen people, the Hebrews of the Bible. So in your heart, this is crushing you, and I got compassion for you. I do. So I want to tell you something. Don't jump off a bridge. Don't do that. And don't go running out there kissing on everybody trying to get the corona so you can check out of here quicker. Don't do that either. All you need to do is just pray and ask the Most High Yah to continue opening your eyes to what? True. Right is right. We don't care about who's right. We only care about what's right. And you don't even have to tell them that morehyosh is the one who showed it to you. You don't have to tell them that. Just say this. Say, you know what? When you go to your mom and your dad and your pastor, especially those of you who watch me from the South, for they still got that prejudice thing real heavy. Now, you got to be careful when you go talk to your pastor and your deacons now. But you need to go to them and say, were there any Europeans in the scriptures during the time of Moses? You talk to them, and they're going to say, why? Because it looks like to me Moses had to be a black man. And they're going to say, oh, no. Black skin is cursed. Ham, cursed be Canaan. They're cursed people. Because you do know Mitzrayim, right? Black. Shem, black. Verse 18. And when they came to Reuel, their father, he said, how was it that you are come so soon? Verse 19. And they, plural, all 7 daughters, thought the exact same thing. They said, an Egyptian delivered us. 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 An Egyptian. An Egyptian. An Egyptian delivered us. An Egyptian. Did they say, and a Scottish man delivered us? And an Englishman delivered us? And a Russian delivered us? Or a German delivered us? Or a Roman delivered us? Or a Greek delivered us? Or a Caucasian delivered us? No. They said, an Egyptian, an Egyptian, an Egyptian. The blackest people on the planet. That's why I'm telling you, when y'all look at that census, what is wrong with America? Nobody read, don't nobody know their history. Type in Egypt, man, it's all black. Egypt is a black nation in black Africa. What's wrong with these people? When they saw Moshe, they said an Egyptian. And these let me help my white brothers and sisters, because I have much love for anybody trying to follow Torah. Man, let me tell you the lies that they tell you in the Baptist church. They said the reason why they said he was an Egyptian was because of the clothes he had on. Oh my goodness. His clothes. So you mean you can put on some clothes and be white from Europe, and somebody would say, I didn't even notice that he was white. I looked at his clothes. He looked like he was Egyptian to me based on his clothes. Man, what kind of foolish people do you think we are? Do you really think that the people in the Bible is that dumb? That stupid? That hard? So nobody on the planet got no sense except the European. That's what y'all trying to say. Like, a person can't look at a person and go, oh, he's a Egyptian. Why? Why did they just assume he was an Egyptian right off the top? He's black. He's black. And he's out here. So they wouldn't have thought off the bat he was a Hebrew. Why? Because the Hebrews are slaves. The Hebrews are all of the children of Israel, right? I'm talking about, as far as the children of Israel is concerned, the children of Israel are still in slavery 200 miles away. So unless this is a runaway slave, they just figured, well, he's an Egyptian. He didn't look no different than any other person. And why am I saying that? Because Hebrews and Egyptians favor each other. That's why I'm saying that. I'm not saying we twins, but we favor each other. We look alike. Both black. Both from Africa. And remember, some of the Egyptians have also mixed, or I should say some of the Hamitic people have also mixed with Shemitic people. So there's variations there. And every one of them sisters said, an Egyptian delivered us. And that word deliver means saved, rescued. He rescued us. He helped us. That's how we got home. So soon is that black man sitting on by that well, that Egyptian. He helped us. Papa say, wait a minute, who you say helped you? They said the Egyptian helped us, delivered us out of the hands of the shepherds. Then it says, and also drew water enough for us and watered the flock. Woo! Man, Ruel said to his daughters, man, where is he? Why is it that you left the man? Call him. And you got a fella that can whoop all them shepherds at the same time. Whoop all the shepherds. Then go to the well and pull up all the water by yourself. Tell y'all go sit down. Then once all the cattle is, then gave y'all water too. And y'all left him at the well. Don't that sound like our sisters today? Oh my goodness gracious. When there is a good man who got a job and willing to defend somebody, willing to fight, willing to take care of everybody, all of a sudden, she in love with the thug. She got the thug bug. She kind of like the shepherd that came. I kind of think he cute. He had you double working. I know, but I kind of like that. Kind of cute. So here come Moshe, the baddest of the bad, the king of kings. At this time, he's badder than anybody. And all of a sudden, they leave him at the well. Yo, I gotta go. I gotta go. My kids getting restless. I gotta go, Zion. I have to go. It took their daddy. It took the pops to say, hey, that's a good brother. Don't you think? I gotta go. I told you I gotta go. Soon as you grab your Bible, read it for yourself. Pop said, get him. If you all can clearly see that when Ruel heard the message, he was like, would you go get that brother, please, right now? Put a 1 million. Put a 1 million. A whole million in the room. We got to see a whole 1 million. Why? Because he was able to see that there's something special in this man. They said, we say, but you got the safety and the water, but you didn't bring him home. And unfortunately, that's how we treat Hamashiach. We want him to fight our battles. We want him to water the flock. He want to give us water, but then you don't want him in your life. You don't want him to be your ruler. You don't want him to be your king. You don't want him to be your husband to tell you what to do. Oh, but he ends up getting one that daughter become his wife. That's not the point today, but I'm gonna get there tomorrow. But I want you to see something. That's the kind of man who was invited into the priest's house. Moses. They said, go get him. And it wasn't until he got in the house that he was able to explain his story. And they said, well, we thought at first you was an Egyptian. He said, yeah, I've been trained, I might have a little accent because I grew up in Pharaoh. He told the whole story. My mama is this, and I was born at the well. I'm born by the river. My mama put me in the river in a little box. I ended up being raised by Pharaoh's daughter, and he told him the whole story. He said, so my life really to this point is from the river to the well. And oh, what a difference a day makes. That encounter changes Moshe and once again puts him on a path that's going to lead him face to face with Yah. One love, Zion. One love from the bottom of my heart. This is morehyosh, Yahoo of the ARK. ARK stands for Awakening Remnant Koalition. And we do this full time. Teach the word to Zion, encourage, strengthen, and try to put things, uplifting. And because the goal is to honor our King, that we might give him all praise, honor, and glory. Our goal is to wake up Jacob in these last days, that we might walk the righteous path. Our goal is to help people see this Bible the way it was meant to be seen, hear it the way it was meant to be read. Because in these last days, we are told we need to start getting rid of all the spots and ironing all the wrinkles so we could be ready to meet our Hamashiach when he comes again. Todah Rabbah to you who have a soft heart that say, I'm going to support this work. Todah. There's so many people who watch our videos and so many people that do not support. So those of you who do, you don't even understand how far that goes to us. And we're going to continue to do what we do. And we thank you for whatever you do to support us in this effort. We thank you from the bottom of our heart. And we are committed. And I know I'm committed to do this as long as I can possibly do it. So all praise, honor, and glory. We're going to pick this up in the house. So we went from the water to the well. Second, we're going to go from the well to the house. We'll pick that up next time we get together. One love, Zion. Toda Rabah to all of the administrators in the room. Sure appreciate y'all. And shalom to the 12 tribes worldwide.